determination of defense against the negative. The human is always the bearer of some things. Many carry oppressive feelings in themselves, others grief, worries, problems, hopes and other thoughts of a material intellectual nature. Also angst and imaginations of images of any kind, good, like bad, belong in his material intellectual thinking. But he, who is a human living according to the Spirit, is a bearer of the creational, of the spiritual. He is a bearer of creation, a conscious bearer of spirit, because he incessantly carries the knowledge and ability of the creational laws in himself, and the more the old nature of the material intellectual thought wants to be the bearer of its logic, the more he works intensively at it to make the creational in himself prevail and be anchored securely. He immediately transforms even the most negative thoughts that come and want to destroy his spiritual intellectual thoughts into creational power and wisdom. So he makes everything creational and carries it as a block of power in himself. Thereby he is a traveling temple of creation. The intelligences of the human living according to creation would be ever more inspired and press always deeper into the spirit consciousness. He who lives according to the Spirit presses always deeper into all things with his cognitive abilities and grasps the warmth of the fire of the creational presence in everything. Thereby the spiritually thinking human would, overall, be cognizant and conscious of the power and the truth of the creational presence. What therefore remains unrecognized by the everyday perception of the senses would be spiritually consciously perceived by the human living according to creation. He therefore always sees in all things and life forms the creational presence and the application of the creational laws. He possesses a spiritual image of the power of creation's presence, and he inducts all the precious energies of his life and being to the creational knowledge, its truth, power and wisdom, and thereby the ability of his fragment of creation living in him, his spirit. The material life on the earth is like a passing game, an evaporating phenomenon. But behind it lies the eternal and timeless truth, the spirit of the creational presence of the reality of creation. This creational reality carries in itself all riches and realms of the ability to do with wisdom. This is the remaining, the timeless constancy and imperishable. This is no game, rather the eternal and timeless truth and wisdom, knowledge, freedom, love, logic and ability, the relative perfection, the absolute determination. Very many people are afraid to live in the sense of creation, and they think, and are of the opinion, that they must only remain with the one who would take their angst of death from them, with a god of a religion, who, through conscious false teaching and to his very own use, had promised to remove from them the angst of death, if they would, in erroneous belief, humbly believe his lies, whereby they would fall under his enslavement and would be free in consciousness. The constant repetition of this religious false teaching causes the believers to find imagined and deceitful fulfillment, and be subject to an evil delusion which binds down all their consciousness rationality, whereby also their spiritual intellectual thoughts are restricted and oppressed and enslaved. Only very few people do not fear to live in the sense of creation and know that this alone guarantees life and being, because thereby the creational laws would be fulfilled and again make life and being, life and being. Billy says what you say rings all so understandable and logical, if only the people could grasp it. Semjase says that they will, yet it will not be from today to tomorrow. You and your group lay only the foundation stones to an avalanche that will only first roll in a very much later time. Billy says I know, we have already often spoken about that. The end.